Hey guys, so Opto Bags here. Just as a quick preface, as always, everything that we express, unless stated otherwise, is our own personal views and opinions. We don't claim to be experts in anything. The beauty of America is that we all get a voice that we can share. So we're actually wanting to have kind of a discussion here. We were going to have a conversation. We thought, let's include you guys. So write down a comment, leave a question if you can. Just write down the timestamp of the statement that we make so we're not rewatching the entire video if you have a question about something. That way we can go straight to it and answer whatever you're saying. So recently, over the past couple days, tragically there were some terrorist attacks in Brussels. This is very saddening. I woke up and my wife told me there was some terrorist attacks. I said where, and she told me, and we started looking at the news. And number one, our hearts go out to them personally, whether you agree or not. That's up to you. But our prayers go out to the people of Belgium and all those involved. That we hope that there can be speedy recovery. That that situation can be resolved quickly. And that those nefarious elements that were involved can be captured immediately. And so we hope that that situation can be better. We can't go back in time and prevent that situation. As a paramedic, whenever you have an incident, you have a crisis debriefing. You try to identify what happened, why it happened, and what aspects, not to place blame, but to better understand the situation, because that's the only way to learn for the future. So we're gonna kind of have a conversation. We haven't talked about this. But what are your thoughts when you heard about it?
Well, I'd say the first thought I had was, well, it's in Belgium, it's in Brussels. You know, I thought it was a target against NATO. That's
it was near embassy.
Right,
yeah.
Airport, subway.
So
I thought it was a direct attack
specific
against
attack.
NATO. I guess it wasn't. However, you could say that it is. That's where they're headquartered.
It's a symbolic attack.
It's a symbolic attack. They're always symbolic attacks, actually.
It's always about symbolism.
It is.
Again, the nature of terrorism is not actually to cause a specific amount of damage. It's to create a sense of fear and unstabilized chaos. It's to send a message. Right. It's the same idea as in Vietnam, booby traps. It's a booby trap is always there, and it causes it creates the element that when you enter somewhere, it's never safe.
You're right.
You always have to be on guard. And the idea of that is to create a crisis fatigue. You can't ever be vigilant. So it's to create a fatigue to demoralize and remove the effort to battle. So it's a tactic. Okay, it's not designed to be a specific amount of collateral damage, a specific target. It's designed to cause the terrorism.
Because if you listen to the rhetoric that terrorists of this nature spout, they claim grandiose ideas of destroying the West and bringing down our imperialism and dominating the world. You're not going to dominate the world by killing 35 people in an airport and in a subway. Thank you. But if you force these people to live differently because they fear, then they have one.
Terrorism is bullying.
It is.
Give me your money, give me your lunch money, or I'll beat you up. It's that simple. And if you give in, then tomorrow, give me your lunch money or I'll beat you up. You're now under that constant threat. And you didn't give me the money, I beat you up. You want to get beat up tomorrow? We'll beat you up tomorrow. And it's a sense of breaking the effort to fight back.
Right.
Or establish those boundaries.
The cost of freedom is eternal vigilance. And there is an atmosphere, especially in Europe, but it's been growing in America for decades, that vigilance is fear itself.
I wrote a note, and it's the sense of, there's a mindset of can't happen, and it's not that it will happen. The flip side of it can't is not that it will. The flip side of can't is that it could. It could. It's a possibility. Now, it's interesting because you had sent me the link, and we're going to add it. Belgium 2 months ago had come out with a ad campaign, a national ad campaign, essentially making fun of the idea that that Brussels was unsafe, that Belgium had any kind of concern about terrorism, and specifically bombings and shootings couldn't happen. We're going to link that video on there, and it's a national mindset that was being perpetuated.
Right.
It can't happen here.
And coming
this
from
is not. It's not going to happen.
From an American perspective, I don't know how to properly react to seeing that. I was like, do I call this sad irony? Do I say "told you so," or do I just shake my head? Because that mindset, I mean, you'll find it in America. It's foreign to me. I actually have a hard time really understanding that mindset. I was raised differently, sure.
I think it's an epidemic
but even,
of a lifestyle.
Objectively, I can't objectively put myself in the mindset that evil can never happen. I don't understand where
I'm going to reference my Why They Hate Guns video, and I'm going to link it. And it's because it's a worldview issue. It's a mindset that establishes
it's a mindset. It's a worldview.
It's a worldview. Can't happen, not the case. And you're establishing an identity and almost a microcosm of how you think. This is how I interpret the world, and therefore I filter everything through it. So you can't allow subversive, diversive, counter thought streams to enter that, because it undermines your identity. You've established your worldview, you've established your identity, it operates in this way. We're safe, essentially, and I hate to say it, I might get guffed, but Belgium operates much like a lot of Europe with an arrogance of superiority, a social and civic superiority to America. Americans are uncouth, we are less intelligent, less educated, and the higher cultured European pragmatism of open society, that is the superior ideology. And it's funny because the ad campaign essentially makes fun of people's concerns. They even say, there's a line that says like, oh, don't listen to CNN or NBC, which is funny because they promote the same ideology, that, oh, it's dangerous. Danger is real. We live in a world where radical Islamic extremism exists. It's just the case. That's the reality. If we're going to pretend like it doesn't, and that doesn't have repercussions, that sets you up to always be surprised or shocked.
Right.
You know? There is a video that I watched on the news, and I kind of want to still talk about it, but I kind of want to talk about this because I think it's associated to mindset. And I'm going to link it. There is a video from the airport of the people running away from the airport. And what blows my mind, and it was the first thing I noticed, they're all pulling their luggage. They're running, and they're dragging their luggage. There's a clip, and you can see it, where it's a child and an adult, and clearly it's the adult. And the child is running desperately, and they're holding onto their luggage. And they have this backpack on, and you can see the child's like toppling as they're trying to run. They're trying to run carrying this bag, and the adult is running, and the adult is doing one of these kind of back. And I can only imagine the conversation being like, come on, don't drop your bag. Come on, don't drop your bag. Everybody's running with their bags. They're pulling 20, 40 pounds of luggage behind them.
Right.
The mentality is, oh, it's clearly not that bad. I don't want to lose my bag.
Right.
And it's interesting. There's a book, and I'm going to put the link on. It's called Unthinkable. It's the psychology of disaster, who lives and who dies. And it's a great book. I recommend it for everybody. I read it a few years ago. Also, along that, I'm going to recommend On Combat by the great Dave Grossman.
On Combat.
Talking about the mentality of not just combat, but disaster. People go into situations, and they're really thinking, this could never happen. And they talk about it. Oh, it felt surreal. I couldn't believe everything was moving in slow motion. They've made no room to think it could.
Right.
And so it's always reactionary. It doesn't seem real. It could happen. My wife worked...
And it does happen.
It does happen.
The fact is, it happens pretty much every day somewhere. Now, the world's big. We're detached from our immediate area to a degree. The farther away it is, the less we care. When something bigger like this happens, we have solidarity. But at the same time, what have we changed about our daily, our day to day?
Well, this is where I
little
think
to nothing.
Here's the problem becomes this mindset, and this is something that I believe is one of the bigger issues in Europe. It's the what is it called? Security theater. You know, the theater or the image of security. TSA. TSA has not stopped or done anything. I mean, and I'll put a link. There's actually on True TV. They used to be on College Humor. We're not affiliated. Funny or Die is good stuff, though. It was Adam Ruins Everything.
I've seen it.
There's one about TSA and security, and it's security theater. It's the idea of protect. You want to give people the illusion of safety, the comfort of safety.
Right.
So you let them feel, and that essentially pacifies.
Right.
It doesn't actually provide safety,
right,
because true safety is slightly actually more intrusive, but it's also more pragmatic. Okay? It becomes the nature of uncomfortable and more costly, and it becomes the nature of addressing the issue. People don't want the issue addressed. Number one thing, if anybody out there has ever worked in customer service, the number one lesson you learn in customer service is when somebody calls with a complaint, they don't want it fixed. They don't actually want answers. They don't want the problem fixed. They don't want a new product. They want to bitch and feel better at bitching at somebody.
Right.
That's what they want. They want to vent that at somebody. And so telemarketers, they're designed to say, I'm so sorry, you're right, let me fix it. They're trained. You assume responsibility, you apologize, you offer, what can I do to fix it right now? And a lot of times, it's just they want to bitch at somebody. That's what they want. And in the same way, collectively and culturally, when stuff like this happens, there's this outlash. And governments do a really good job of being like, oh, I'm so sorry. You're right.
Right.
What can I do for you right now? More security? Okay. Right. Here's more security. Now do you feel better? Great. Thank you.
Here's another point. Always after something like this happens, you get the media goes into overdrive. The investigations go into overdrive. Things get leaked to the press. For instance, Belgium had a credible. It was reported Belgium had a credible lead, an indication that the airport was being targeted for bombing just days before it happened. Credible. They knew about it.
But the reality is this. When you have politicians and you have business people making the decisions for you, and I'm going to address this in a little bit, the idea, it costs too much money to shut down the airport. It becomes an issue of figures. If you treat every credible threat appropriately, it becomes, again, intrusive, because then you have to actually, well, then let's stop the fights. Let's increase screening. That makes people unhappy. We don't want complaints. We want bottom line figures. It's fine. True. We'll keep an eye on it. It happens. Right. It's cheaper to let disaster happen, pay out, than to make regular marketed changes. Mm-hmm. It's cheaper.
And this is why I brought up the line.
Or maybe it's not. Maybe I'm wrong. Who knows? Right. I don't know what I'm talking about.
This is why I said the cost of freedom is eternal vigilance. Because in light of the fact that they knew of a credible threat just days before it actually happened, and it didn't change anything, right? And then on top of that, another story came out that I read that they have credible information that says as many as 400 other possible terrorists were either in place in theater or were prepared to
Now, mind
join this fight.
Now, here's the thing. Mind you, hold on. No.
What will this information change? How, if it does make a change in the way governments prepare, react, try and secure, how long before how long between the terrorist attack and peace, the idea that things are okay again?
Return to normalcy.
Return to normal. Thank you. I couldn't
What's
say
the
it.
window between
Right.
the incident
Right.
and people's interests and
Right.
an actual return to the common standard?
Even in light of knowing that there are others out there that are ready, that are prepared, that want to join this
I would
fight.
argue that's an individual person's prerogative. It turns back into the issue. Why are all those people running out of the airport pulling their luggage?
Mm-hmm.
The individual is responsible. And again, it goes to a specific mindset. Government's responsibility is to protect and take care of me. I don't need to plan. They're going to take care of me. And it's a very subtle, but it's a very subversive, and it's a very standard. I mean, the majority of people's position is, well, if something happens, call 911. They don't understand how the system works. They don't understand how resources are given. The system is designed to protect itself, number one.
Right.
And the system is designed to work on a tier of priorities. It's that, I mean, that's the case. You look at 9/11. 9/11 happened. Do you think the police were making priority calls to, hey, I think there's someone breaking into my neighbor's house across the street? They didn't care. Okay, so there you have large-scale terrorism. Large-scale terrorism works because it creates chaos, because it creates a vacuum of resources where you then have a plethora of surrounding individual crime.
Right.
Okay, so you have that terrorist threat. You have this explosion. You've had a terrorist attack. My house is on fire. Lady, yeah. Too bad. You got better. I hope you have insurance. That's the reality.
Right.
People,
a fire might still get a fire truck, but in lieu of a terrorist attack,
where's the resource?
Where's the resource?
Where's the resource? Where's the priority?
Right.
Where's the closest fire truck's already been rediverted somewhere else.
Right.
You're gonna wait for a carryover. I don't even know how the fire department system in Europe works. Here, luckily, you have the MABUS system. Your local municipality gets overwhelmed. You have a mutual aid. They'll come in and start shifting resources. That shift of resources is a trickle down, all the way out. Now you call 911. Oh, sorry, we have delayed times. Nothing was going on within 4 miles of there. You're lost. Your house is going to burn down. It happens in suburbs all the time. Barn burns or something. It's like, you got resources committed. Hope you have insurance. That barn's going to burn. It's not a threat to life or property. Let it go down. That's the mentality of government municipal emergency response in disaster situations.
Right.
We're going to prioritize. You know, they immediately think, okay, we've had a terrorist attack. Where's the most casualties? Divert resources there. Let's send. And it comes because I've been a paramedic. I've worked associated with emergency services, with the municipal emergency. I understand.
I do
how
now.
They operate to protect themselves first, and then you prioritize resources in response.
Mm-hmm. I had an officer ask me yesterday, because I work at I work at a place with a lot of cops around, right?
Strip club.
Right. And he asked me, wouldn't this police station be a target? I told him, actually no, because if the police get attacked, people's mindset would be, well, the police should be prepared to handle something like that. Mm-hmm. Terrorists don't attack the police. Mm-mm. They attack civilians. Civilians are not ready.
Again, it's terror. It goes to the essence of murder sprees, massacres where people may or may not use firearms. They don't target.
Hard target.
They don't target police. So you had the one crazy shooter. He targeted the Marine base and a naval recruiting site.
Right.
Even at the Marine base, he did receive return fire.
Right.
And
that's a whole nother issue.
That's a whole other. But that is
charged with having his own firearm.
That's an anomaly.
Don't get me started.
Okay, that's an anomaly. The naval-based shooting, Fort Hood shooting, those are technically gun-free zones. There is nobody armed.
To think a place like that would be a soft target.
The purpose of a terrorist attack is to gain as much terror as you can. It's to create instability. Now, and I would say the issue becomes individual preparedness of a mindset. I mean, we did a video on a first aid kit. How many people carry a first aid kit in their car? How many people just carry Band-Aids in their pocket or their purse? Okay? Simple things. How, do you carry a flashlight?
Oh, would you look at that?
And this is the Stylus Streamlight, Stylus Pro,
okay.
Which one? The Micro?
Stylus, I don't know.
Something. It's a good one.
It's a good one.
But I mean, just something as simple as that. This is where it turns into that EDC mindset. It turns into, it's a worldview issue.
Right.
If my mindset is already determined, it could never happen. I'm safe. I constantly live in the green zone. Cooper color code. I'm constantly safe in green. Every time something happens, it will be an emergency or disaster. I worked in 911 as a call taker for a while, and it eroded some of my sensibility. People call for the stupidest thing because they don't know. Wow. I cut my finger. What should I do? Put some pressure on it. If it doesn't stop bleeding, you're going to have to go to will you send me an ambulance? No, that's not a real emergency.
And
a cut finger is not an emergency.
That reality. Consider America. America, our culture, our history, despite decades of degradation and attempts to fundamentally change us, I'm not going to go too far into that, but
of course not.
Even with all of that, America is still more prepared than most nations.
Oh yeah,
to handle something like that.
I mean,
and even here in a shit hits the fan scenario, there would be pandemonium.
Oh, I'm going to say. So, wrapping it up, we're getting long-winded here. It would be pandemonium. What I want to reference is look at when you are going home. Okay, mass transit, train, bus, whatever. Look around next time you're out. 5 o'clock, people just want to get home. People are fighting and pushing in. Oh, I got to get a seat. That's just going home. Imagine if it was a real disaster. This is the last bus out of here. War of the Worlds. There's a scene. Tom Cruise, the latest one. They're driving through a camp. People start busting on to try to. They need this car, and they pull guns. They're like, "Give me the vehicle." They go. They just jump on it again. They shoot the guy. Pull out the body. Jump into the car. It drives another couple feet, and it happens again. People aren't thinking beyond 2 steps in front of them. They just. And it is the most realistic depiction of people's just sheer terror. They are unprepared. They have nothing. Basic go bag. Basic just. Food. It's a great. I actually think it's a great movie. I told you to get food. That was what was in your fridge. Just ketchup, can of olives, stuff like that.
Whatever you can get.
And but yeah, we could go on forever. In fact, we were. That's why we had to cut back and be like, let's wrap it up.
But as we're wrapping it up, how can we as individuals, we as preppers, we as Americans, how can we better, I wouldn't say better prepared, because we could do 10 hours of video on that, this aspect, that aspect. How do we put ourselves in the right mindset, and how do we share that mindset? How do we project that mindset into the people that we think might be best suited for it?
You know how?
And ready for it.
I'll tell you right now. You watch the next video that we're about to put up. That's how.
All right.
Because we'll put it up.
That's a good way to
segue.
Yeah, that's
without just turning it to an hour-long video. Watch the next video.
That was good.
So we'll have another video up on the mindset of disaster. Again, not experts, but watch it. Click like, subscribe. Make sure you leave comments, trolling criticisms, what have you. Click like and subscribe or don't. But whatever you do, please try to stay safe out there. Please be vigilant and please be aware.
I just got duped into doing another video.
I'm a terrible person.
Yeah, well, sayonara.